Hi, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Josh.
And we're
Fear the Queer,
a podcast that talks about everything on our gay agendas, from politics and media
to race and relationships. So sit back, relax, as we spill the tea.
Fear the Queer. That was beautiful.
That was good.
I know.
Thanks. Hello, listeners, and thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of Fear the Queer.
So we want to talk about why we are doing a podcast. And honestly, it is because we don't have funds for a web series.
Also, as members of the LGBTQ community and politically minded media-obsessed millennials, we also felt that a podcast was the best way to express our thoughts and feelings about literally everything.
I think it's an easy transition when we talk about politics. How often do we talk about politics?
Every day.
I think I bring it up. I yell about it every single day.
Can you believe?
There was a day that at my office job, the cleaning guy came in. It was Friday. It was like 2 weeks ago. And he was like, he comes in, looks me dead in the eye, and he just goes, "Fuck Trump." And I was like, yeah, fuck Trump. You know, like, you got it. So we start talking, and he goes, you know, you should run for political office. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And Josh literally has glazed over eyes. So I instead went on and I looked up how much a microphone was and how to record a podcast. And here we are. So, you know, it's the equivalent of...
Actually, I was paid $20 to do this, but whatever.
And I'll Venmo him later.
So our first episode, we decided to go back to the very beginning, and we wanted to talk about coming out and the importance of coming out, and
because I think it's just really important.
Yeah, we just wanted to share our stories about what it was like to come out.
It's a good intro.
Right.
It's a good place to start.
And shout out. So every episode, we decide to have a little cocktail before the podcast, which explains why we're slurring. And tonight we're doing Hana Rivera Rosé.
That's Hana Rivera Rosé. We're hoping to get sponsored.
Never.
And, well, I am. I won't be looking for a sponsor. Anyways.
Cheers.
Cheers, queers.
So, did you want to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
I think coming out is always a process. I didn't officially come out until I think I was 23.
Okay.
21 or 22, 23. It's somewhere in there. And, but you know, when you're a kid, you always know, I think, that you're different. People treat you differently. And I think when you're a kid, you just try to live your best life. And
you almost adapt to being different in a way. Or you just try to be so...
Or you try to blend in.
Right, exactly. And you almost become nothing.
Yeah, you're like, blend that contour. So, you know, I remember getting an Ariel Barbie doll and absolutely loving it, but knowing it was not what the other boys were playing with. And that transitioned to Star Wars figures, but always attracted to, like, Princess Leia, and also I was attracted to Harrison Ford.
I love you.
I know.
In kindergarten, I remember saying to kids, I'm half man, half woman, half cat, and half dog. And if that's not like a little queer baby for you, think about it. Like, that's like a very queer thing.
So you knew at a young age then.
Oh yeah, I like came out of the womb being like, yes, bitch.
Okay.
Like, I was like ready. And that being said, I was a C-section baby. So really, I was like a C-section.
You were cut out of the womb.
I was cut out of the womb. And my mom was just like, preach, honey. No, but like, as I got older, I went to Lutheran school, which I think can be really hard just because it's ingrained in you from a very young age that gay is bad.
And you grew up in Michigan, too.
I grew up in Michigan, yeah. I was north of Detroit, and like, we just like, I always knew gay was bad. So I think around like age 13, when I started to become like actually attracted to boys, I started to become more thoughtful of my mannerisms, how I talked. Like, I lowered my voice so I would be like, hey, can I get a foot-long tuna sub, please? And
you're still like that.
I'm still like that because I get nervous. But I, you know, I would lower my voice, and, you know, I wouldn't talk with my hands, and I played sports. which, you know, I wasn't good at it, and I'm still not good at it. But once I hit high school, you know, I dated girls. Shout out to those girls I dated.
We're sorry.
No, I was a good boyfriend. I think I was a good boyfriend because I'm a good actor.
Okay.
You know, and also like I genuinely cared about those girls, and you know, if you're listening, like I genuinely liked dating them. It just happens that I like boys more than faking it. But I remember, like, I think a huge, like, coming out moment, or like realizing I was gay or queer, was when my sister got a Tiger Beat, and
Wait, what's that?
It's like a teen magazine. So it's like, you know, they would have it on the cover, like...
Oh, like the Disney teen.
Yeah. Like they would have like, oh my God, Miley Cyrus is dating Nick Jonas. And I'd be like, why date Nick? You should be dating Joe. T. But I remember finding like a picture of Zac Efron and being so turned on by like his muscles and like his little happy trail. And I was just like, oh my God, where does it lead? So I think...
Well, even in the Rihanna bob phase that he had, like, he was so really
I was
attractive.
so into it. My mom cut my hair until I was like 20, and I took a picture of Zac Efron with that Rihanna bob like emo look, and I was like, make me him. When I moved to Chicago, I became a lot more comfortable with myself, and I surrounded myself with like-minded people, and I officially started to come out when it was around the time that marriage equality wasn't 2015, but it was like a few years before, and marriage equality was like becoming more popular, and, you know, singers like, are you ready? Macklemore.
Oh my God.
yeah, Same Love. And I think I posted that video, and my mom, Meg,
do you remember, sorry, side note, do you remember at the Grammys when Queen Latifah came out on stage and she...
lesbian icon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did the marriage ceremony for all the gay couples in the audience at the Grammys.
Oh my God, I that was a moment.
I know.
Like, that is a freaking moment in time.
That's a gay defining moment.
Yeah, I mean, I completely forgot about that.
I know.
But that is a moment. Queen Latifah, if you're listening, we'd love to talk to you.
That's how Kyle came out.
That's how I came out, was literally Queen Latifah. She clocked me. She's like, oh my God, you got that Zac Efron hair.
You gay.
You gay. But my mom saw me post that video, and she was like, honey, do you want to talk about something? And this was like on the phone, and, you know, I just came out to her. I was just like, Mom, I like boys. And she's like, a mother always knows. And she was like, immediately supportive, and she kind of cried. And
Why'd she cry?
she was like really worried for me. She was like, I'm scared because the world is a hard place. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm a tough bitch. I wasn't actually that confident then. This is like before I was like medicated and like more sure of myself. So I was like, yeah, it is a tough place, ma.
How old are you?
I was 22, I think.
Oh, okay.
Like 21 or 22. But like I had been out with my friends because I couldn't hide it.
Yeah.
There's no way to hide it.
I feel like being surrounded by gay people just brings it out of you naturally.
I think that's a very pointed statement. Literally looking at me, but we'll get to that later of your little coming out story.
That's true.
So after that, it took some time, but I told my sister, and she's dramatic, and she cried, but was super supportive. And then I never had to tell my dad. My dad I remember him saying to me, this is a couple years ago, I just think like, it's just great that you never felt the need to come out necessarily. And I was like, well, like I've come out, but like in different ways. And he's like, yeah, but like you just are it's just Kyle. And I'm very lucky. I know a lot of people do not have the support of their family. And I think that's like, that's so shitty. But I'm very lucky. I have a great family. I have tons of amazing friends. Let me brag a little bit more. But yeah, that was my coming out story.
Yeah.
And my mom's like a gay icon. Like she was a hairdresser in the 80s. A lot of her best friends.
That makes her a gay icon.
Yeah, gay icon. She had fuchsia streak in her hair.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And,
Crazy.
I think I get a lot of my personality from my mom and my dad too. But my mom is like very theatrical, and I always felt comfortable with coming out to my mom. I think a lot of people feel comfortable coming out to their moms.
What was probably the hardest part about coming out to you?
Looking back, looking at my life now, it seems like such a small thing. It's such a tiny, almost insignificant, because I'm totally gay. I'm very comfortable with it. And I embrace it. It's one of my favorite parts about me. I think, did Gus Kentworthy say that? Like, it's not the only part about him, but it's like one of his favorite parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cute and like a perfect way to put it. But I think the scariest part about coming out was, growing up really religious. I was like, shit, I'm going to hell.
Because you were raised Lutheran, right?
I was raised Lutheran, but but the thing is that like my parents are very open and like more spiritual. But I had a lot of connections to kids from high school and people from like my old church. And honestly, it sounds bad, but like I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like either you accept me for who I am or you don't need to be in my life. And a lot of people have not been in my life for a long time.
And you're fine.
And I'm fine with it. I have, amazing people surrounding me right now and I'm really happy about it.
And I do think having that support around you really helps you build a tough skin.
Yes.
Because I feel like if you didn't have that, it'd probably be a lot harder for you to establish that, like, I don't give a fuck realness.
Yeah. I think it's taken years. Like, when I first came out, I did not have such a tough attitude. I was still timid. I was still worried. I had really bad, like, mental issues. I suffer from depression and anxiety. But I think coming out was almost like a release of that. You release it into the world. And I remember my mom saying she is so happy that I'm out and just happy and thriving because it reminds her of who I was when I was little. And I thought that was the sweetest thing. When I'm running around saying I'm half man, half woman, half cat, half dog. It's, just like a super creative, weird little kid, super precocious. And it was just like that freedom I have again. And it's like I've reclaimed that.
Right. Because along the way down the road, when you realize who you are and the part of you that shuts off, it's almost just like you're just not there anymore.
Right. Like I was talking the other day, and this is like, I won't say their names, but I was talking to someone who I had just met, and she's part of the queer community, and she was like, whoa, wait, you were in the closet in high school? And I'm like, yeah, I was like way more butch. And my friend who knew me was like, yeah, no, Kyle, like his voice, he made it deeper, and he had girlfriends, and like he like policed how he talked with his hands. And she was like, no, they knew you were gay. And I think that can be a little problematic. And this is just like coming from someone who, like, she's part of the community.
Right.
But to be like, oh no, everyone knew, I think sometimes takes the power away from you.
I think so too.
It's like, well, that's okay that everyone knew, but like maybe I was figuring out. Can you like give me a break?
Right. It's not. It's not even about other people. It's about you and figuring out your identity and what you feel like you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Stop projecting onto me.
Right.
If you look at my high school pictures, I was very into Panic at the Disco. I had beautiful
Brendan
hair.
Urie, gay icon.
Brendan Urie, pansexual icon.
Yes. True.
But like so happy for him also. But I was also very attracted to Ryan Ross.
Who?
Ryan Ross. He was the second. Are you being shady?
No. So it's like who?
No, Ryan Ross.
I don't know her.
He was like the other guy in Panic at the Disco.
I only saw Brendan Urie. So.
But like he made out with Brendan Urie on stage.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a big deal for me too. Because I was like, oh, they're not gay. They're just really good friends. And like in high school, I thought like
that was your excuse.
Yeah. No. I did not kiss a boy until I was 21 years old.
Holy shit. Well, I guess I didn't kiss one until 26.
Like a year ago.
Yeah, true. For those who are listening who don't know me, I am a Korean American. I was born in South Korea, and I moved to America when I was about a year old. And I grew up in a small town in Iowa, and raised by white parents, and I loved them to death. But it's Iowa. It's boring as hell. So I guess growing up in Iowa, even on top of the fact that it was a small town, and there's nothing wrong with having a small town background, but it wasn't for me. On top of that, I also had a lot of food allergies. So I had a peanut allergy, a shellfish allergy. So I didn't even really get to eat much growing up. So I basically had a very bland existence.
Here's a lettuce leaf.
Yeah. Until I moved to Chicago, which was 2015. And part of the reason why I moved is because I felt like I didn't really fit into Iowa in the first place. So I was like, I don't really have an identity here. I don't really know where I belong. And half of it was because I had internalized so much of being closeted that I didn't even realize that I wasn't even really a person anymore. If that makes sense.
No, I got that. Yeah. No,
Like, I was just, like, living day-to-day life as just...
Because when did I meet you when you first moved here?
August 2015, which is... So I moved here August 1st. I got a job at the movie theater where we met, and you were the first gay person I ever met. And...
Wait, ever?
Well, no.
I'm so sorry.
No. No, let me rephrase that. You were the first openly gay person I've ever met.
Like, not even in college?
I knew of people, but you were the first person that I met that we became close friends with.
Live and in color, here she is.
Right. So third time's a charm. He's the first gay person that I became really close friends with.
Yeah.
And because of, like, seeing your confidence and seeing, like, how comfortable you are in your own skin, and then also be around people who were great allies, people who were also gay, it just made me realize, I was like, okay, I'm here now. And I feel like my coming out to you guys in Chicago wasn't even really a thing. It was just...
It just happened.
Right, it just kind of established.
You were just like, oh, that guy's hot. And I was like, oh, so we're going to talk about this now.
Right. I never really officially announced it to you guys because I didn't feel like I had to. I felt like you guys got me.
Yeah, you just live your life.
Right. But in the back of my mind, there had been like 9 months since I had left home. And I knew that my parents still didn't know because I wasn't openly out.
You're like, 9 months, I'm about to be delivered, bitch.
Yeah. So I felt like I needed to go home to Iowa to really tell my parents. So
I remember that. You were really nervous.
Yeah, I planned a whole weekend to drive home, sit down with them, tell them, and, you know, hope for the best.
The gays are so dramatic.
I know. It was just like... So anyway, so I go home, and I had this all planned out where it's just like, we had dinner at our favorite restaurant, which is this great...
Burger King.
Yeah. Shut up. It was a great local Mexican restaurant, and, you know, we got margaritas. I wanted to loosen myself up so that way I could give them the news. But I remember the entire time during dinner, I was like getting really hot, and I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, like, what if they reject me? What if they don't love me anymore? What are they going to say? Because my mom specifically was a very devout Christian, specifically Catholic. And so I felt like growing up with that background, I felt like she was going to be the hardest person to come out to. And that's why I had...
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like it was so easy with my mom.
Right. And I knew with my mom, it'd be the hardest person to tell. And plus, I'm a huge mama's boy. So it's just like, I didn't want to disappoint her. I didn't want to tell her, you know.
I think like every gay person or like queer person when they come out is afraid of not being loved.
Right, exactly.
Like not being loved, not being accepted.
Right. Like just seeing their world crash right before their eyes by telling them, this is who I am. Anyway, so that entire spiel that we just said was running through my head, and I was getting really sweaty, and all of a sudden my dad was just like, Josh, are you okay? And I was just like, yeah, I just think I'm hot or whatever. He's just like, yeah, you're really red. I was just like, yeah, it's probably the tequila, you know, no big deal. And he's like, no, your face, you're covered in hives. And I turn and look in the mirror, and I'm beet red, like from my face down to my chest, just covered blotchy red hives just spread all across my body.
Girl, look how fucking red you look.
Oh, I'm not joking, bitch.
Yeah.
Girl, look how orange you look, girl. Now, I'm not joking, bitch.
And then right when that happened, my lips got numb, and I started to cough. I was just like, Jesus Christ, am I having a reaction right now? Sure enough, the food that I ate had apparently peanut sauce in it. I was just like, oh fuck. And everything just went out the window. Me trying to come out, me telling my parents, like, when them accepted me, I was just like, I'm dying. So we run out of the restaurant in true dramatic fashion. I'm sure my dad went back to pay. And we rushed to the ER, and, you know, this entire time, like, my throat's closing, and I'm just like, So we get to the ER, they put an IV of Benadryl in me, and I already had 2 margaritas at this point, so I was...
Party.
Yeah, so I was, like, gone at this point. And the moment they put the IV in, like, this nice, icy chill just went through my body, and I was just like, oh, wow, this feels nice. And... you know, this entire time I was just like, well, I have to leave tomorrow, so how am I going to tell them this? And by this point, my head is swimming. I was just so in a great place. I was laying in a comfy bed. My parents were right next to me. I just turned to them. I was just like, Mom, Dad, I like boys.
And what did they say?
It was just dead silent. Because right before that, the doctor's just like, oh yeah, he'll be fine. He just needs to spend, a couple more hours here.
You wanted to make sure that you were going to stay alive. And
Right.
once you're like, well, I'm going to live a little longer.
Right.
They're going to find out that I like boys.
Yeah, I was just like, hey, just by the way, I know we just went through this, but I like guys. And
Your dad like slowly takes out a little rainbow flag pin and pins it.
Yeah.
And your mom's like, ooh, I left mine at home.
Well, I remember my dad was just like, okay, sure. And my mom was just dead silent at this point.
What was
And-
her face? Was she just like, she probably was scared that her son was going to die.
Well, she was just processing everything in that moment. The fact
Yeah.
that I almost died and now I just came out to her.
Yeah.
So she just was stone faced, just nothing there. And being an Aries, and also an Aries moon, by the way, I was just like, oh, okay, she wants to play this game. And plus I was drunk and Benadrylled. And I was just like,
Benadrylled.
yeah, I was just like, Mom, what do you have to say? And she's just like, what do you want me to say? I was just like, if you want a relationship with your son, you better start talking now.
Oh my god, you live like where are the cameras?
Right.
You're waiting for like
I
a
know.
camera crew to come in and you're like making eyes at it like yes.
Yeah.
You're like about to lip sync against your mom.
For the crowd.
Yeah. You're like, get ready,
I know.
mom.
I just remember it did take my mom a minute to realize. She's just like, oh. And she knew all along.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to
Parents
say this.
know.
Parents know. Parents know when their son or daughter are gay. And she's just like, we kind of had a feeling. And it was an okay feeling. It was weird. It wasn't as dramatic as it was. It didn't feel like a big blah explosion I expected.
Right.
I don't know if that was just because my expectations were so high or if it was just because it wasn't the way I wanted to say it.
Do you think it's funny that your kryptonite, like peanut sauce,
Right.
forced
Peanuts.
you to come peanut sauce forced you to come out?
Right. I know.
It's kind of
crazy.
funny.
Yeah. It's just like the one thing that could kill me also liberated me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I want
Yeah.
that is that's so cute. I'm having a moment. No, I really am. That's really cute. I never thought about that because you've told me before, and I was just like, yeah, Josh was dying, and then he's gay now.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, sometimes you're about to die, and then you're like,
And you're just like, I'm gay now.
I like boys.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my coming out story.
And do you feel like you're constantly coming out to people, or do you think people have caught on? They're just like, okay, he's in front of a rainbow flag on the beach,
Right.
living his best life. Like he's a homosexual.
Well, there were some friends that I had told immediately, and there were some friends that I was just like, I think they're just gonna find out.
Right.
And these are close friends of mine. These were people who I've known for 10 plus years, and I still didn't really officially come out to them. It just
Here it is.
right. It just was.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I was able to just be on social media and just be like, oh, I like boys, and I would send them snaps of like me talking about boys, and I got my first boyfriend. I think 5 months later after that.
It was part of your coming out process. I think like
Right.
you were lucky. You got the really good package. You like came out and like it was like $29.99,
Right.
4 payments,
I
and
signed
that
the VIP package.
Yeah, and it was like you get a boyfriend. That's a really good coming out story though.
It was.
Yours is more dramatic than me, so I'm a little bit like.
Well, I love it because even the next day, my parents were just like, my God, Josh, you always just love to be dramatic, don't you?
Yeah, you're like, oh, you just have a flair for drama. You're
Right.
like, yeah, I'm gay.
Right.
No, but it's good though. I think
Yeah.
I think like your relationship with your family and your sisters, like
Right,
that's
yeah.
really good.
My 2 sisters, Andrea, my older sister, already knew. My younger sister, Lindsay, she's a great ally. She has LGBT friends at home. She, she doesn't care.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like millennials are way more easygoing.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
They're
we
ju-
grew up to learn to adapt, and we grew up
Right.
also understanding the struggle.
We should like mention like I'm 28 and you're like
27.
57.
Shut up.
Okay. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
27. Sorry,
Yeah,
I almost
27.
said 27.
Excuse me.
So we're millennials too, but like when we were graduating high school was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And
But
it
even
was,
at that time, I don't think I would have been comfortable coming out anywhere.
I wasn't. I had literally a tear out of Zac Efron under my bed, and I was just like, I mean, maybe I just want to be him. And no, it was like, no, you want to like
No.
smooch Zac Efron.
Well, and that's another thing too, is just like, does your environment and does timing have to play a factor in that? Because I don't think I was ready until I actually moved.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the main thing that like, because I've had multiple people, I'm like the coming out whisperer. I'm like,
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I've had multiple people come out to me.
That's true.
And I don't know why, but I love it. I'm just like, yes, my babies. But I think people come out when they need to.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't come out until it's absolutely necessary.
Like, at least in my personal experience, I also feel like being surrounded by people who uplift you and support you. For example, with you, like you were the first openly gay person I met, and again, like you were just very. It seemed like you were very confident in yourself.
You're making my head really big right now, but keep going. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know. Seeing how comfortable with you are in your skin, and seeing other people around you and love you and support you, that helped me realize, oh, it's okay. I'm fine. You know what I mean?
That's really sweet.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's almost like a chain effect. Like, surround yourself... Again, this is just my personal experience, but surrounding myself with people within my own community who were very non-judgmental, even if, for whatever reason, I had, like, a few missteps on the way. You know, like, say, for example, like, I was just like, oh, maybe I like boys. I don't know. Like, not one person was just like, no, you're gay. I would say the only important thing in terms of coming out is just having necessary resources around you. Whether that be a good friend, a nice ally, or, you know, just reaching out to someone.
A parent, a teacher.
Right. Just anyone that you feel like you can actually just go to.
Make sure you're safe.
Right. Because I feel like safety is the most important thing.
That's probably why we both came out in the city.
Right, that's true.
Because we felt safe.
Right, and Chicago is a huge, very accepting
It's very queer, and which is great.
Yeah, it is. So I would say probably that's the only advice I would give to anybody who feels like they aren't ready to come out or are questioning about coming out. Just make sure that you feel like you're in a safe mental space.
And when you come out, if you come out, there is a huge community that loves and supports you and thinks the world of you.
Mm-hmm. And we will take you in with very open arms. Well, I think we're at a good spot, right? I think that was a good...
Yeah, that was a great first convo.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we got to
many that we hope to have.
Well, we're going to have a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Well, I love it. I love to talk, and talking about myself is one of the easiest things I can do, and pretending to listen to you is the other easiest thing I can do.
Okay, so at the end of every episode, we decided to do a lightning round, and even though we have a few drinks in us, we will try to go as fast as we can.
I love it.
The first one we're going to do are queer icons, this or that.
Or that or this.
Or yes. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I love a game. Okay, go.
3, 2, 1. Troye Sivan or Lizzo?
Troye Sivan. Andy Warhol or Keith Haring?
Keith Haring. Janet Mock or Laverne Cox?
Laverne Cox. Beyonce or Mariah Carey?
I'm gonna surprise everyone and say Mariah Carey.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, it's Beyonce, but I just wanted to be really cool.
You love to throw a curveball in there.
All right. The Ryan Murphy classic, Glee, or his new project Pose?
Oh, new project Pose. He's gotten so much better. RuPaul or Divine?
Oh, easily RuPaul. Even though she's problematic as fuck and herself. RuPaul.
Fair.
Okay. Laith Ashley or Aiden Dowling?
Laith Ashley. He's on my husband list.
Ooh, which is going to be featured in a later episode, by the way.
It is now.
Yeah.
All right. Ursula the Sea Witch or Cruella de Vil?
Ursula the Sea Witch, only because I didn't say Divine in my last answer, so I'm going to then make
You don't want her to haunt from the grave?
No.
All right.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay, your ultimate one. Dolly Parton or Oprah?
Dolly Parton.
Okay.
Because I'm working 9 to 5, bitch. Okay, so my last one, my big gay icon.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Jonas's thighs or, I know, Nick Jonas's arms.
Oh.
I know, you just want to mash them up into one Joe bro.
Oh, Joe. Oh, one big Joe bro.
Oh my God, Joe bro smash.
Yeah. Joe Jonas's eyebrows with Nick Jonas's pecs.
You're like,
that?
you can't even take the thighs or the arms. Could you imagine though, like a or like a Jonas brother that was just thighs and arms?
Thighs and arms. I'd be okay with that.
He just like flexing all the time, and you're like, why are you flexing?
But I know you're a Joe Jonas in there.
I know you're Joe. Knock twice if you're Joe Jonas.
Yes. Okay. Well,
Okay, that was fabulous.
That was good. That was a good lightning round.
All right, so
Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to our very first episode. If you'd like to listen more, feel free to subscribe to our podcast on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, or subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And you can find us literally on all social media platforms at Fear the Queer Podcast. Or if you want to send us some emails, any ideas for shows, or hate mail, it's fearthequeerpodcast@gmail.com.
Please don't send hate mail. I'm very sensitive. But if you actually have any questions or any commentary about your own coming out story, feel free to reach out to us because we'll give you a shout out in the next episode.
Yeah, and I would love to hear it too.
Yes.
All right, well, I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
And you've listened to Fear the Queer.
Bye, Queens.